Okay, greetings to everyone. Today, our focus will be on how to conduct a scientific research. So, in this case, it will be an agricultural research because we are agricultural students. When conducting an agricultural research, the first thing that we start with is a title or a topic. You have to select a title or a topic that is specific and that is very clear and narrow. That means your topic should not be broad. You should try to make it narrow. For instance, let's say your topic says the effects of fertilizers on crop production. That is too broad because when you talk of fertilizers, there are many types of fertilizers. And when you talk of crops, there are many types of crops. So you should try to make it narrow. Maybe say the effects of organic fertilizers on spinach production. Now you have tried to, you are specific, but then you narrowed your topic because you are now focusing on organic fertilizers, specifically on spinach production. But when you say on spinach production, it is also again very broad. So you have to somehow maybe narrow that one too by saying on spinach yield or on spinach germination or on spinach growth. So now your topic is very narrow. It is the effects of organic fertilizers on spinach growth or on spinach germination. So you have tried to narrow your topic. Your focus will be narrowed. You will be able to complete your research by so narrowing your topic. The following thing is your introduction. You have to come to your introduction. You have to be very, very aware of the tense that you are using when talking of the introduction. You have to try and use active voice or simple present tense when doing your introduction. So you have to try and explain or try to elaborate or try to make the person who will be reading your introduction to understand what you are trying to, or to understand the key factors of your introduction, the key words of your introduction, the key concepts of your title. That is to say, you should try to maybe you explain to this person what you mean when you say organic fertilizers. That is one of the concepts you can define. You have to try and explain what you talk of when you talk of spinach. What crop type is spinach? What crop family is spinach? uh, what is the variety that you will be discussing, the variety of the spinach you'll be talking about. So you have to try to elaborate and define those key concepts so that the person you are writing this research to should understand what your work is focused on. Again, you should try to find the gap that has not been explored in relation to your topic. You have to try to see where is the gap, what has not yet been researched about. Yes, there are so many researches which have focused on spinach, but some of them have not focused on spinach yield specifically on a loam soil, for instance, specifically on a sandy clay soil. That is one of the key of the gaps that you have to try to fill when you are conducting this research of yours. So you have to try to find those gaps and fill them. And how are you going to fill them? That is one of the key concepts that you have to try to elaborate and to define in your introduction. After the introduction, there should be the objectives. The objectives are the goals that have persuaded you into conducting this study. The, the, the goals that you have to be able to reach at the end of this topic. Your aims of conducting this research. Those are the objectives. Why specifically do you want to conduct this research? Those are the objectives that you should try to explain or to define to the reader of your research. Then after that, you have to focus on the hypothesis. The hypothesis is a statement, a short statement. It can be a sentence or it can be two. That is your hypothesis. This hypothesis is a statement that you can prove or falsify. At the end of your research, your results should try to explain or try to make you be able to falsify or prove right your research. That is, at the end of your research, when referring back to the hypothesis, you should be able to see that, all right, so after conducting this research, my hypothesis said this, so I am able to see that my hypothesis is in line with my research. Normally, when I'm talking about the hypothesis, I like to say it should be an if statement. You should try to make a short statement that starts with if, or that is an if statement. For instance, when I'm talking of an if statement, it will be kind of like, let's say, if spinach is fertilized with organic fertilizers, optimum yield will be obtained. That is a statement that I want to prove or falsify after my research. If spinach is produced with organic fertilizers, optimum yield will be obtained. One other thing is that your hypothesis should have an independent variable and a dependent variable. In this case, we have our statement is an if statement. That one we have sorted out. So now let's sort this one out of an independent variable and a dependent variable. Now the yield is dependent on the organic fertilizers. If there is organic fertilizers maybe which is optimum or which is not optimum, then yield might be increase or decrease according to the quantity or of organic fertilizers that you have used. That is to say, the yield depends on the fertilizer. But the fertilizer does not depend on anything. It is independent. So a dependent variable in this regard is our yield, the yield of spinach. Now, if your hypothesis is an if statement and has an independent variable and a dependent variable, your hypothesis is complete in that regard. After the hypothesis, we go to the plan. The problem statement. The problem statement is a problem that you have seen, that you have encountered, which enforced you into pursuing this study, which enforced you into conducting this study. Now, when we talk of a problem, we might say the problem that persuaded you into conducting this study was that there was low yield of spinach, particularly in your area, or there was maybe shortage of food. We can put it in that way, shortage of food. So you discovered that in this particular area, there is shortage of food. So you want to conduct a research that will help this environment, this neighborhood, this locality to have yield, particularly on spinach. That is the problem that enforced you into conducting this study. So you have to try and elaborate the problem that made you to particularly conduct this study. After this problem, then there will be a plan. How you plan to conduct this study? What are the procedures that you intend to go through? In this case, you should use the future tense. That is the tense you should use here when conducting this plan, because it's something that you are planning to conduct or to do in the future, in the nearby future. So you should try to use future tense in this regard. After the when you are done with the plan, then there will be a literature review. When you are conducting a literature review, The literature review, you should do it in present tense and past tense. And here in the literature review, you are trying to see what other researchers that came before you have already found out. Is that, and then you are trying to link what they found out, particularly in relation to your topic. What is it that they already have found out? And what is the link between what they have found out and what you are trying to get, or what you have already found out you yourself? So you should reference, in this case, there should be references. You can also use, in fact, you should use past tense and present tense in literature review. After the literature review, then it will be methodology. Methodology now will be step-by-step procedure of what you do when you were conducting your research. There should be steps that you conducted from step one up until you finished, you got done with your research. So in this methodology, you should try to talk of things like the seeds type, varieties, crop varieties, plot size, soil type. Where is this research of yours? Where will it be conducted? How will you collect data? How will you analyze your results? Will you use tables? Will you use graphs? That is actually the methodology. Now, when we talk of the methodology, this is where you are getting marks. This is where you are working to get marks. If you understand this now, we understand that you know how to conduct a scientific research. So in this methodology, you should try to put everything in detail. You should also say what time your research will take. After the methodology, then will come your results. Now we come to the results where you will be presenting them in forms of tables, in forms of graphs. Now here in your results, you are trying to see, did your research go in line with your objectives? Have you met the objectives that you said you want to achieve at the end of this research? Did your research prove or falsify your hypothesis? Now, when you are done with these results, you can go to the discussions, or in fact, you can even go conclude your research. So, in conclusion, conclusion is something that you already know of how to conclude your work. So, this one should not give you any problems going through it. Thank you very much for the day. Let's make sure we are fine, everyone, until we meet again. Thank you.